Sorry about the delay, the double delay today. I know I had the stream starting a little bit later than normal, and I'm late, so sorry about that. I just, life. So thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for the like. I appreciate the thumbs up. Let me see who's here. Who's here? We got Bjorn. What's up, man? Bjorn, I'm looking forward to that sleeping bag. Bjorn makes incredible little miniature sleeping bags for action figures. What's up, Magic School Truck? What's up, Josh B? What's up, White Vegeta? Thanks for being here, man. Troy, what's going on? Troy is from Oregon. And New Future Customs is here. And Star Marvel is here. Hey, Star Marvel found the new emoji. Hey, and it worked. All right. I figured out, I finally realized I could get rid of the white background on the emoji and actually have the actual shape. So I might go back and fix some of my other emojis so they're a little bit more professional looking. So yeah, we've got a new emoji in there for the channel members that's got a not to scale. I don't know if you can even read it. Yes, you can. Okay. It says not to scale. I thought that would be a funny one. So Michael Dumas, thanks for being here from Mississippi. New Futures from Australia. There they are. Waukegan. Cool. We got people from all over the place here. Awesome. So I don't know if you guys, just a quick reminder, I put these up for sale. These are up for, this is not how they look finished. This is a casting that went bad. See that? Blech. But I saved this as an example of what not to do. But these are up for sale. I actually don't have a finished one because I boxed them all up because I had 11 sales this weekend. So thank you guys. If you were one of the people who bought one of my custom bases, I really appreciate it. So those are all going out on Monday. Well, the first 7 are going out on Monday, and then I'm going to wrap up the next 4 to go out hopefully within a week after that. So those are up for sale, and the video is the last 2 videos both feature that base, and so there's links below to get all that stuff and figure that all if you want. But we're here today for the tiny art experiment, and just as a reminder to everybody who isn't aware, from the previous 2 or 3 streams, I'm going to be bringing the tiny art experiment, which is this giant Star Wars project that everybody around the world has worked on, and I brought it together and brought it all together. We're going to take that to Las Vegas in February to the International Market of Miniature Artisans. Their website and their information is linked below in the description if you want to check that out. If you want to go and sell your miniature or diorama wares there, you can go if you want. It's got, I think they have 62 vendors right now. I think they probably have more since the last time I checked. And yeah, it's like a market of miniatures made by people like you and me. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll be there with the tiny art experiment to show the world, and hopefully I'll be able to bring it to even more places than just that after that too. And hopefully we'll get some of the our photographers who have been on board since the beginning to take some cool shots of it and post it on their incredible Instagrams, like Plastic Action and Sergeant Bananas and Work More or Less. A1 Groundwalker, they were all our photographers who volunteered. So, and they're still on board. We just gotta get this finished and get it to them somehow. So one of those will happen in Las Vegas. Tread Extrius, hello from Reno. What is up? Tread Extrius, guys, is a good buddy of mine. His name is Trace, and he said he was going to be here to watch my live stream and support me. So thank you, Trace. You're the man. Thanks for being here. And Star Marvel and Trace, you guys have something in common, just so you know. I'll tell you what it is some other time. But yeah, and Brooklyn, if you're here watching with your dad, you and Brooklyn and Trace, you guys all have something in common. So thanks for being here. Yeah, so if you guys are coming to Vegas and you're going to check it out, then it'll be fun for you guys. And hopefully I can meet some of you guys in person if you guys can make it. If not, that's okay, because I'll live stream a bunch of stuff while I'm there. So it'll be like we're there together. So what were we going to work on today? Oh yeah, we're going to work on this tower, hopefully. So I figured we could start this, and that's just styrofoam on the bottom and coated, and this is a cardboard tube with XPS foam on the sides. And yeah, I think we were going to plug this, and maybe we'll add some paint detail and some wires and maybe some hanging flags. I think just working on this building today will be enough for a stream, and then we can go back to the other buildings and wrap those up. So I think that's enough for today. So, oh, Brooklyn ain't here right now. That's okay. Brooklyn and Trace, I think, are probably the same age. So just, yeah. Trace, I got buddies across the continent that are here, and they're our friends. So, yeah. I'm trying to think where I should start on this. This is the top of that. if I want to finish the fabric or if I want to finish, I probably should stick with the structure of it. Trace, by the way, thank you for the $2. You did not have to do that. And New Future Customs, thank you for the $5. You did not have to do that. All donations and super chats and super stickers and stuff that come when we do these tiny art experiment streams are going to go to making sure this diorama gets to the photographers, and maybe, you know, depending on how much we do in the future, gets moved around in the future, whether we need to ship it, it's going to go towards that sort of tiny art experiment shipping fund, I guess, is probably the best way to phrase it. So thank you for that. I will use that to make sure this gets where it needs to be, or gets someone to it, whatever we need to do. Yeah, let me see if I can find a magnet. Oh, that's what I need. I'm trying to remember where I was going to start on this. I was going to start with the bottom piece to this. It was going to magnet onto this and go in top of that piece. So let me get my tub of plastics here. I'll show you guys my tub of plastics. So I have this whole thing of PVC pieces down here, stuff that I have saved and accumulated. I have a particular set of PVC that I've acquired over many years. No. And I think the piece that I want is in here. A piece that I had in mind. So bear with me while I find this really quick. I think it's down here. Yes. It was kind of like this. I think this might be the piece I was thinking of. But the piece I wanted, I think, was flat and hollow on this side. So let me see. Let me set this up there. We're going to dig through some obtainium today. I think I was talking about this a little while ago. Obtainium is all of this is the piece there it is. This is what I was talking about. This piece. All right, I found it. So obtainium is the stuff you obtain and save as a resource to build your art with. So this right here, this is all obtainium. All of that, and some up there at the very top. There's a bunch of empty bullet shells up there I'm going to use for something someday I saved. And there's obtainium in that, and in that, and in that. And there's a clock up there I'm going to take apart. There's a Mandalorian helmet that I made. There's a bunch of leatherworking stuff. This is all metal parts and gears and screws and nails. And this is fabric stuff. This whole thing is full of vintage microchips and resistors and transistors. That whole thing. I got that at a garage sale for like 30 bucks. That's all copper wire. That's other copper tubing and wire. There's a bunch of keys, and here's a bunch of PVC, and there's a bunch of other stuff in there. Yeah, this is all my obtainium. So this is why you have this, so that you can find this random piece when you need it, and drop it under the shelf, so people can watch me crawl under a shelf live. Hold on a sec, guys. Sorry. Look how dirty my shop floor is. There it is. Okay. Put the PVC obtainium away, and we'll go back over here. So, boom. My whole plan was to get this on top of this, like that, and magnetize it if I can. That's going to be fairly weak, but that's okay. And then put this plug up in the top here. So let me back this up. I might lift this up a little bit for this stream, since the object we're dealing with is taller than normal. There we go. I'll just put this in the background. See that black tape over there? I specifically bought black packaging tape for my black boxes that I had custom made, which are sitting over there. You can see the tip of one right there on my little couch, or my futon. So, okay. This is gonna go right in there. Thank you. So I think I showed how I did these stairs on this specific piece in the Tiny Art Experiment playlist in one of the videos. But if not, it's the exact same process I show in my Ancient Ruins diorama video for cutting out a positive and then subtracting the negative and then reassembling it to get your shape. I know that sounds weird if you haven't watched that video, but that's how you do it. Let me get my coffee. I needed some caffeine. Okay. So yeah, this was a whole circle just really quick. This was a whole circle of styrofoam. I took my hot wire cutter and I cut out this shape, and then I sliced that shape 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I sliced it, and then I took my hot knife and I cut off the excess shape from each one, glued them back together, and reinserted it at the stairs, and that's how it fits tight. And then when I filled it in with a tile, it makes it look all smoothed out. So it was pretty cool to do that. Trace, you're gonna do some Godzilla stop motion? That's amazing. Can't wait to see that. I used to do stop motion with my dad, but we used a Ken doll because I didn't have anything else. We borrowed a Ken doll from my friend. She had a giant Barbie collection and we didn't have anything that would really work right, so we borrowed a Ken doll. Okay. Let me see. I might just cut this by hand. Now I'll get my hot wire cutter. Let me grab my hot tools really quick over here. Whole thing full of hot tools. This is a plunge cutter. This is a plunge cutter. You plug it in, turn it on, it heats up, and you can just literally just plunge this into foam and cut whatever shape you want. This one is a pretty low wattage one, so it cuts kind of slow. You can get them with a variable adjustment or set to a higher wattage. You know, that's where you can see the wattage and amperage and all that stuff here. So the higher the watts and the higher the voltage, the hotter that's going to get. So this one is output of 6 volts and 2000 milliamps. So if you get something that pushes up to like 10 volts, you know, and higher milliamps, you get a faster cutter, but it's also more dangerous. So you got to be careful, you know. And then you can get ones with in the line, there's a variable where you can turn the wattage and voltage or whatever, however they have it set up or down so that it can get hotter and cooler. So I just finally got myself a new hot wire cutting table, even though I'm still going to use my hot wire foam factory all the time. I just got another one to do some special cuts with that I wanted to advance my cutting abilities with. It's got a variable voltage wattage thing on it. I can't remember which one it is. So, and they use these stereo cables to plug them in so you can switch them and use them for different tools. I thought it was kind of cool because like this is the cable I used the most growing up when I was ignoring the world, listening to my CDs, walking home from middle school. This cable was my best friend. Shut off the world. Listen to Rage Against the Machine. Don't listen to those guys. All right. So first things first, I'm going to leave this on so it heats up, and then I'm going to trace my size of my insert here. If I can find my... Hey, there it is. Come here, Ben. There it is. Okay. So we're just going to trace this out. And, oops. See if I can do this while facing the camera. I think I can. Famous last words. That looks like that'll do it. Yep, okay, perfect. So the first hole I cut was a little too small. Whew, and I can smell this cutter. Okay. So it doesn't really cut through the tile grout, so I'm gonna have to kind of tear through that a little bit, but this should just kind of do what I want. Yeah, it's moving back and forth a little bit through the tile grout, but the grout's thin enough to where it's not causing a problem. Go, go, go. Almost there. Might have to cut that with an actual knife right there. Grout was too thick. Yep, let me get my other knife. Hold on. It's thicker over here. Just pop that out. Whoops. Whoops. That's okay. Sometimes sawing back and forth a little bit Actually helps because it gives a hotter part of the blade to the foam and makes it cut faster. You're right, it is satisfying, Trace. Boom. Okay. Just flop that out of there. Okay. On the floor. Okay, so theoretically, I'm going to turn that off so I don't burn myself. Be careful. Make sure this fits before I paint it. Look at that. Boom. It fits. Okay. So you can, by the way, you see all this stuff? You can sand that all off if you want to. I probably will now that I'm thinking about it. You can literally just sand that off. If you start with like 80 grit and then move to 120 grit or even just 120 grit, you can sand that right off pretty quick. It does leave a grit, right? So just be aware that you'll leave a surface. You have to keep sanding it with finer grits if you want to get rid of the scrapes on it. So I'm not really worried about this because typically it's going to be, of course, covered by the piece that's going to go above it. But if, you know, I wanted to have it optional and like put this on the ground next to it, that's an optional display. Like this could just be a awning and I could leave this on top as a plug and that would be cool. So Emil says they have giant ants. Whoops, my goodness. Would it look cool if you had those giant ants crawling around your diorama? Okay. So sand this. I actually have to pop this off. So I'm gonna actually take this fabric off, as I need to re-weather this. I didn't. I should have taken more care. I was kind of in a hurry when I did it. So we'll re-weather this. I'm gonna re-glue it later too with better glue. I kind of did it in a rush and I shouldn't have. So there's that. There's that. And I gotta pop this off like that. Hey, that's just styrofoam too. And I have to make this marry to that. So, oh, to that, like that. Yeah, something. I know what I'm doing. Okay. I'm glad you like it. Thank you. Thank you guys for all the likes again. I appreciate that. And thank you guys for the support. Thanks for being here. Okay, so magnets. We got to magnetize it before we... Well, I could magnetize it afterwards. Trying to think if I want to paint it first or not. Doesn't really matter, I guess. Let's do the magnets. Okay. Those are the big boy magnets. Let's use the not big boy magnets. Or, well, let's find out which magnets I need to use, I guess. All right. These are the big boy magnets. I buy these off the shelf at Home Depot, honestly. They're magnet source. You can get them online as well. These rare ceramic magnets, excuse me. These work just fine. I mean, like, they really work just fine. So, and these are the smaller disc magnets. This wider one I got in a big pack at Hobby Lobby. They're weaker. And this smaller one that's a darker color, a darker gray, is one of the magnet source ones from Home Depot. The magnet source ones from Home Depot seem to be quite a bit stronger. But the weaker ones work as well, depending on how much weight you have on what you're doing. So I guess I just need to see if this magnet will go through. It will. Look at that. Let's see how strong it is. Yeah, that's pretty weak, yeah. I mean, I guess it's strong. Let me see if these rectangular magnets will fit in here. And barely. Kind of. There's your big boy magnet. All right. Yeah, I don't know, the magnet's like too wide for this part though. So that wouldn't really work unless I put like a band around it, which I could do. I do want it to be strong though, because if like I'm setting this up outside, I don't want the wind to mess it up. Yeah, that's holding even a few inches away. So right there is where it holds without me having to hold the magnet on this side. As I can show you, there you go. Magnetism. Okay, and that's not all the way up. There's a little bit of a lip under there, but I'm actually fine with that. I think I'm just going to do that. And then I will figure this out. Yeah, I think it's going to be better for the piece. All right, this is sort of an advanced magnetism. If you've never magnetized a diorama before, I will do that. I actually have not done my version of that in a video, which is very similar to the way other people do it. So just so you know, I don't do anything different than probably use a different glue than most people. I use epoxy because epoxy does not melt foam, and epoxy holds magnets way better than Mod Podge or tacky glue or whatever. And it cures better too, because it's an exothermic reaction. It doesn't need air to dry. It will heat up and hold the magnet in, even the part that's behind the magnet inside the foam. So I eventually will demonstrate that in a video. I just hasn't come up yet where I've needed to with the small round magnets. But we're about to do it with these big block magnets. So you get that today. Let me move this a little closer for the magnetism. I guess that was sort of fun, wasn't it? All right, so again, these are the Magnet Source magnets from Home Depot. I just made a giant commission for a really, really big toy company, and it used about, I think, what did I say? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, about 26 or 30 of these magnets to hold the diorama together because it was so big. And these are very strong, so just be aware, they're very strong. Okay, epoxy. So you can use this Gorilla Glue, or you can use 2-part epoxy, which is cheaper. Well, that's 2-part epoxy, but this is a cheaper one. I'm not going to break these open yet, though, because I don't need to. I don't think I have these linked below right now, but I'll link them below later. These are the Bob Smith Industries 2-part resonant hardener. It's the same thing as this, but it's cheaper, and it's the same thing. So if you need it quick, you can run down to the hardware store and grab this, and it works great, but it is more expensive. I think it's like $6 or $7 for one of these. You can get these for literally, I think they're $5 at Hobby Lobby, and it's like 3 times as much glue or something. This is, what is this? This is 4.5 ounces combined. So the combined net weight of these is 4.5 ounces. And this one is 0.85. Yeah, so this is 5 times as much glue for $2 less. So this is the cheaper option. I'll link it below. I do have an Amazon affiliate link for this. So if you guys want to get it through Amazon, through my link, I'll put a link below. It's not there at the moment, but for the future times, people, it will be. But you can also get this off the shelf at Hobby Lobby if you have one near you. I think it's $5 or $6. Might be different in your region, but it's really not that expensive. And it's great, and it's the same thing. But I'm going to use this up because it's already open. So, and I'm going to use the magnet tray to mix the epoxy in. I do that a lot. I'll just use this tray from the magnet and then use this piece of this cardboard to mix it up and then spread it because it works great. So why not, right? So I need to trim this up a little though. Reflatten this. There we go. Okay, cool. Thank you, Emil, for telling us. Apparently you can get 2-part bottles at the Dollar Tree. I did not know. I'd never seen it there. So if they got a small bottle and it's cheap and it works, hey, why not? You can also get this stuff in like enormous vats if you plan on using a lot of it too. So, but this usually works for me. I go through probably a set of these every couple of months. That's usually enough for me. And I do a lot of stuff. So, you know, spend accordingly and appropriately for yourself. I think I want to sand the edges of this. Yes, before I glue it, just to make it easier to hold. And I like using 5-minute epoxy because I like to work fast. You don't have to though. Honestly, the slower setting epoxies will be harder and stronger. I've never had any problems with this for the stuff that I do, but if you want a slower curing epoxy for some reason, you can get that. You can get the epoxies that take 24 hours to cure, and they will not come apart when they're done because they take so long. The bonds are just way stronger. It's the same thing with the resins. The resins that cure longer, if you can properly mix it and keep it in a temperate environment, They'll cure a lot harder and be a lot more stable than the faster curing ones. If you're using like clear resins and stuff like that. So epoxies and resins, there's some similar properties. I'm not a super expert on that stuff, but I know enough to be dangerous. Okay, Kawasaki Productions is in Hawaii. Awesome. We got Australia, Hawaii, West Coast, East Coast. Awesome. So yeah, this stuff works great. It works fine. It's just you're going to run out of it quicker. That's the only thing. Especially if you're magnetizing like a whole diorama that's going to need like 20 of these, like a big diorama, you're going to need like 2 or 3 tubes of this. So you're going to spend like $20 plus the magnets just to magnetize your diorama. So just FYI. Be aware of the cost, because I wasn't one time. Illinois. We got Illinois here. We got everybody here. Okay. Let's see. Put some little indication markers in here, just so I know where to put some glue. I don't really just do that, I guess. I just need glue. Well, glue below this line. I'll do that. Glue below those lines. Oklahoma, Midwest. Awesome. I know another dude in Oklahoma who's a diorama guy and a toy photographer. Doug. I don't know. I won't say his name because I don't want to give away his location if he doesn't want me to, but there's a few people over in Oklahoma. All right. Here we go. So if you've never used one of these before, by the way, this little cap is inside, in between these two, if you can see it. There is a space in here. It's like a weird circular or a weird ellipse shape. This cap breaks out of there, and that's what you use as your cap here. And then I find if you take the cap off, and I'll show you if I can get my cap off. There we go. Take the cap off, and you're going to squirt your glue. Squirt it out evenly, put pressure on both sides, hold it with both hands, and then pull your plunger back, right? And then it will suck some air into it, and that will prevent glue from spewing out and into your drawer and discovering that your drawer is covered in uncured epoxy resins that are impossible to clean. You can clean them up with acetone, but it's a pain in the butt. So pulling back that plunger and putting air bubbles in there will actually help you not have to clean up a mess later. So I figured that out way too late in life. Me and my dad used to buy that stuff when I was a kid and ruin like whole surface areas with it because we didn't even think to do that simple thing and pull the plungers back. But now I know. Okay, so there's our two types of epoxy, or a resin or a hardener. There we go. I'm just going to use this piece of paper to mix it up. And you can do this on a flat piece of cardboard. I usually just do it on something I'm going to throw away. You can do it in a cup. I don't usually bother with cups though. I mean, you can, as you know, no cup discrimination here, but I usually just do it on a piece of trash cardboard, something that won't like leach through. You know, cardboard, a piece of plastic works just fine. And you don't get it to get too crazy. This is 5-minute epoxy, so you got to do it pretty quick. You want to get it mixed, and like you can, if you take more than 30 seconds to a minute, more than a minute of mixing, I would say that's too long. You know, 30 seconds to a minute, somewhere in there, thoroughly mixed up is going to be enough because it's going to start getting stiff and you won't be able to do what you need to do with it. So, just going to use this as my spreader. Right there and right there. And since it's not going to touch the bottom because there's a fillet edge inside of here, I'm just going to spread it on these side walls and hope and pray that's enough, which I think it will be. So, and then I'm going to put my epoxy directly on the magnet that I want to go here. So I'm going to put my epoxy, got to make this squishy noise, right here. And be careful, if you're not used to this, I would recommend wearing gloves. I am pretty good. I don't want to brag, but I'm pretty good at spreading epoxy glues. And so I'm just going to take that apart and push this where I need it, and it's going to squish out, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. And this will be unmovable in about 5 to 10 minutes. So we're just going to leave that there. And then I'm going to spread some glue, my excess glue. Try to use up all your glue if you can, unless it's going to get in the way of something. The more glue you have, it's going to hold it in place and grip it better. So I'm going to go ahead and spread some glue under it in case any drops down and forms little little grippies underneath, even though it probably won't. And then I'm gonna do this and just plop it into, whoops, plop it into place better than that. There we go. There we go. Oops, and of course I did it the wrong way, like a doofus. So I did the polarity backwards, so I have to do that. Haha. I'm talking and not thinking. Okay, there we go. Haha, whoops. That's all right, that'll all dry. It won't matter in a few minutes. Let me get a paper towel. And wipe off this excess epoxy that I accidentally put on the wrong side. Because I'm trying to impress all of you, and I messed up. Okay, there we go. Whoops. Nice. There we go. So I'm just going to set that aside, and that should be ready to mess with here in about, I'll probably wait 10-20 minutes. All right. Wiping it on my apron. By the way, if you want a cool apron, go to a restaurant supply store, and they have cheap aprons with big pockets, and you can get all kinds of colors. Barbecue aprons are awesome. I have one of those too. Okay. Trey says if not one of those, then you could possibly make a custom base plate earlier than that one. Oh, one specific fig. Trace, you'll have to clarify later what you're talking about if you're talking to me. Trace, we'll have to talk later, bud. You tell me what you want to do. We'll have you over here to the shop and we'll talk. Yeah, New Future, that's what I do on all my dioramas. I let the magnetic force hold everything in place. So, New Future said, clever, the magnetic force as well holds the epoxy in place while it kicks. Yeah, that's what I do with the dioramas. I'll embed all the magnets and I'll place them all and make sure the polarity is the right direction. Then I'll mix up a big batch of epoxy. I'll pull a magnet out, fill it, put the magnet in, pull a magnet out, fill it, put the magnet in. And once I have a whole corner section done, or if it's like a corner and two walls, then I'll put masking tape over the magnets so they don't pull out. And then I'll plop them together and set it aside, and then they will cure in place in the position I want them in so that they have the strongest hold possible. And that's essentially what I did here. So I don't, mess any of the epoxy up. So this is dripping down already. Don't want that. Well, maybe I'll just hang it sideways then, or set it sideways. Put epoxy. I'm smart. Thank you. All right. We need more Smart license plates in the gift shop. Okay. So let us see about, I think I have more of these magnets. Yes, I do. Magnet. I'm going to use one of these as a template while I let that dry over there. So for this part, since they're the same size, I can just do this. I'm going to push it in. Nope, I'm not. It's too stiff. I'm going to go like this, and like this, and just trace that shape. Trace, I'm saying your name a lot tonight, bud. I hope you're happy. All right. They're pricey, just so you know. The magnets are expensive, but they're worth it. I mean, everyone's definition of expensive is a little bit different, but to me, they're pretty pricey. When I have the cash, I'll literally buy the entire rack. I'll go to Home Depot and buy like 17 boxes of magnets because I actually go through them fairly fast. When you're magnetizing, even a small 12 by 12 by 12 diorama, like as far as inches, 12 deep, 12 wide, 12 tall, and you want to magnetize it properly, you're looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. You're using like 18 magnets for that, you know, and that's like what, three boxes of magnets at $6. So it's like it gets up there really quick. You know what? I'm gonna use my saw for this. I don't need to do that. That's unsafe. Okay. I've got this little flush cut saw. I actually got this for putting frets on guitars. I used to mess with guitars for a couple of years back in the day, customizing them. I was learning how to repair my own guitar. And fretboard on a guitar comes flat, and you have to put the metal frets on it, where, you know, the little metal pieces on where you on the fingerboard. And this is a fret slotting saw. I mean, it's just a regular saw, but it works for that. You have a little jig where you drop this down, and then you saw your little depth for your fret, and then you insert your fret, because fret is made in a wire, and you insert the wire, and then you nip it off and sand down the edges. That's why I have this saw. I bought this like, gosh, 17 years ago for doing that, and I've kept it ever since because it works so great. And it's a flush cut saw, so it won't leave any like weird like edging and stuff, so I use it for all kinds of little projects. Like doing a nice straight cut that's really long and stiff. See, I would link this stuff below beforehand, but I don't know I'm going to be using it until I'm doing the live stream. So in the future times, maybe I'll find a link to this and link it below so you guys can get one if you need to. Okay. And how deep do I need to go? Let me just make a mark. Whoops. Oh yeah, I forgot that was magnetic. Duh. Use the pen. Use the pen, Luke. All right. The caffeine is working. There we go. Careful if you're doing this, guys. Just trying to cut through this resin. There we go. And then I'll get my hot cutter out again. Just very carefully do this. I need more control. There we go. Okay. Hot wire cutter. Activate. Come on. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Oh, come on. All right, I have to peel this. The resin's getting in the way. I'm gonna tear these resin pieces off. See, this is the problem with poor planning. Is you're going back and cutting into your finished material later, realizing you should have done this from the start. That's okay. Oh, I must have used a glue that does not cut with a hot wire. Okay, I'm gonna have to dig it out. Oh well. Careful. Oh, that worked. Of course it was easier that way. All right, there we go. Boom. Magnet. And you know what we can do is I can spread some more epoxy on this and just plop it right onto that if I want. And then I can just paint the edge. Look, my fingerprints. Anybody want to steal my identity? Just kidding. All right. Let's mix up some more epoxy. I'll probably just mix it right on this, actually. That's another thing you can do. If you have a hole you need to glue something into, just put your epoxy in the hole. Mix it in the hole. Why not? Oh, I love the farting epoxy sound. I see you guys are commenting. Sorry. I'm distracted by what I'm doing. I'll check the comments in a sec, dudes. Peeps, hold on. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna grab a toothpick. I grab toothpicks to mix epoxy with all the time as well. They're great for little tiny amounts of epoxy. Unless you break it. Why did that break so fast? What kind of a toothpick are you, huh? What's your problem, man? Wow, that caffeine really worked. I'm kind of hyper right now. Okay, that's better. Put that there. I'll go over here. Over there. Put this thing on there. Do this right there. And do the thing over there. Channeling my inner boomhauer. All right. And then we'll just do this. Normally I would wait till this is fully cured, but it's not. And it's cold here now, so it's curing slower than normal. So I'm just going to do this. Boom. Boom. Back that up. All right. Just do that. And then I'm going to grab some tape. And do a little shield. And I'm actually going to slide this off the other piece here so I can have a little bit more control over this. Okay. Whoops. And this frog tape, masking tape and frog tape does not stick to epoxy, just so you know. All kinds of little trickaroonies tonight. There we go, just so the glue doesn't leach out or leach out very much. And maybe I'll do one of these, just like that, so it doesn't slide around too much. And wrap another one around that. Just keep it in place. I do a lot of little things I do, like I've said many times before, just to help myself keep moving. I don't like to sit and wait for stuff, or if I have to, I like to move on to something else. So this will be like this. Yep, that'll suffice. We'll do that. And I'm going to put that on something. Have a piece of cardboard over here. I can reach it. Nope. I go around. Okay. White Vegeta. Thank you for all of the emojis. All right. Boom. So we're just going to set this wacky looking apparatus aside and work back on the building. Should be cured in a little while. Look, I'm a ribbon dancer. No. Bjorn is having some champagne. Somebody else said they got the margaritas. Bjorn's got a Dr. Pepper. I got my Venti Americano with half and half. That is my drink of choice. Trace's caffeine is apple juice. That's an excellent, excellent source of sugar. I'm not going to saw my finger off. You guys are funny. Look, I'll show you really quick. Story time. I don't know if you can see. Can you see the scar on my fingertip there? I got that in Nam. No. I got that, funnily enough, not from using a knife. I got that from the lid of a dog food can. So there's actually another tiny one right here. So I got the can opener, and I got my dog's food out. This was when I was like 17. And I put it on the can, and I cut the can lid open, and I flipped it open with my thumb, and then I came back to reach for the can, and I wasn't looking at the can. And I reached over to grab the can. I thought my hand was like low enough, and my ring finger and my middle finger slid across the can edge of the lid and went boom, and it went right all the way down to my bone on my ring finger and slightly in over here, and it bled like crazy all over the place. Thankfully, I was right next to the sink, cleaned it off, and bandaged it up. And this took, I think it took like 7 or 8 stitches to close this up. And so I've got this little scar on the tip of my finger from that. That's the only time I've ever like made a really big cut on any of my fingers. Some of these other ones here, I used to work at UPS. So there's a little cut right here. I was, and right here, those are both from irregular packages. At UPS, you have to load really large packages sometimes that are irregularly shaped or irregularly heavy. And I had to get one onto this belt, this conveyor belt. And it was this big heavy thing with like weights and weight equipment in it. And it had metal edges to it because it was in a wooden box. And the box started to fall, and I moved my hand behind it to steady it. And the box was heavier than I thought. And it pulled my hand down towards a metal rail. And I realized my hand was about to get crushed. So I pulled my hand out really fast. And as it was pulling out, this part of my knuckle stuck into the corner of the metal edge, and it ripped my skin out. And the same thing happened here, similarly, with another heavy object. Let's see. But that's it. It's not from using a knife. When I was using a drill to put 2 corners of a frame together, I was drilling like this through at an angle through the corner where you're supposed to put a screw. And I had a big old like 4-inch long Phillips head drill bit. I was drilling, and it slipped and went over the frame, and about 1 inch of that drill bit went into my fat right here, into my hand, and came right back out, and some fat squeezed out of it, and I had a tear right there. So sorry, Star Marvel, but you know, hey, I'm just letting everybody know. I don't cut myself with box cutters and X-Actos. I cut myself with drills or, you know, heavy packages to tear my skin or whatever. So I've also removed a giant, see that scar on my thumb? This one is from my table saw. I have a table saw, and I was pushing a piece of wood through, and the piece of wood that I was cutting, I stupidly didn't really think about it, was smaller than the length of the blade of the saw blade, and I pushed it through, and it needed to go through a little bit farther to get past the blade, and it only had like this much left. And so I reached over the saw, and I grabbed this side of the wood, and I went to fling it out with my thumb. I was going to fling it out because it only had this much farther to go, and I went to fling it, and a splinter in the wood caught my thumb, and then it caught my thumb, and I went to fling it, and the wood dovetailed to the side of the blade, and the blade grabbed the wood, pulled my thumb with the stick back through the saw, and the tip of my thumb went right over the top of the spinning saw blade, and it cut into my thumb about a little over 1/8 of an inch and about 3/8 of an inch wide. It didn't cut all the way through all three layers of skin, but it got really close. I filled it with honey, wrapped it in a Band-Aid, and it was sealed up in about 3 days. Honey is a natural antibiotic, and you can use it, and it is safe, and I do recommend it. So that's all my hand injuries. Story time. Yeah, those are yeah, fishnet's right. These are all my Diorama battle scars and dog food can and UPS scars. And here's my latest one. Ew, just a scab. I had my lipoma removed. I had that cut off. So it's not gross anymore. The stitches were removed, but I won't go full on, but yep, I had my lipoma removed. I had a lipoma piece of fat right here that grew on me for 18 years. And I have a scar above my right eyebrow that I got in kindergarten when I was hit right in the front of my eye with a baseball. It ripped my eyelid down, and I had to have 12 stitches to put my eyelid back up. That's the gross one. Caught you by surprise. Character building, right? Okay, enough of the stories. That's pretty much all of them, I think. All the other trauma that happened to me was lovely emotional trauma. Okay. So, what do I want to do to this? I got 36 people watching. I guess my scar stories must be entertaining. Thank you guys for the 22 likes. I really, 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 really appreciate that. Okay. What do we want to do here? I was thinking it'd be cool to hang like orange flags down, or orange and blue flags, or blue flags or something to match the top, but maybe that's overdoing it. Maybe that's overdoing it. I don't know. So I want to add some type of detail. Let me grab my detail pieces wherever I set the, oh, they're over there. I'll be right back. these detail pieces that we were working on. Some of these are already spoken for, some of them are not. And let me get some wire here. So we got all kinds of different annealed wire. All right, this stuff is great for making power lines in dioramas, and it comes in all different sizes. I got these orangey yellow packages. I got at Ace Hardware. That is dark annealed steel wire. I'll leave a link below later for these. And this is a thicker, heavy-duty annealed wire. These are great for adding like mechanical wire details to dioramas because they're already black coated. You don't have to paint them, and they have a great look to them. And it's wire, so you can put it in whatever shape you want. Do some wire stuff. Banners, maybe banners, yeah, like pod racing banners or something. I feel like if I do too many on this though, it might be overkill. So maybe just like one sticking out. I don't know. It'll tell me what it wants to be as we go here. So I know that sounds pretentious, but that's really how I work. So let it speak to me. All right, maybe we'll use some of these little doodads. That on the bottom, that might be kind of cool. Make some kind of thing over here. A thing. Actually, that already looks kind of cool. Let me turn this down. Looks kind of cool. Like a kind of venting system or something. Looking like a ship engine. Think banners. Wear them with pride. Sure, why not? Just do one of these and one like that. That's kind of cool. And just a little thing like that. Maybe we'll do one here. I'll do another one over here. There we go. I figured it out. Haha. We'll put wiring on them. Yeah, I'm going to probably do the wiring first and then do the banner afterward as like a secondary feature. So I'm pushing these into the resin. There we go. To kind of, I might cut them out and embed them a little bit. Or maybe I'll just do it like that. Doesn't need to be anything too crazy. Like that. Like that. Yep. Yep. Okay. I'm just gonna pop this resin out. And I'm gonna glue it directly to the styrofoam. Okay. And yep, that'll do. Pop this out. It's gonna glue better to the styrofoam because of how this doesn't have a flat surface, it has an edge, so it's gonna be better glued directly to the foam. I'm not gonna pull it all off because this has like a cut back in it. Let's do it like that. I'll come in here and touch that up later. And I might use a little hot glue, even though it's the devil. Put my plunge cutter away. Thank you for your assistance, Mr. Plunge Cutter. You are welcome here anytime. Just getting my hot glue gun. Hold on. There we go. Okay. My nastified hot glue gun. Okay. So where's my EPS glue? Where's my EPS glue? There it is. All right. This is linked below if you want to get a 4-ounce bottle of this EPS glue. The Bob Smith Industries brand is linked below. It's the same glue though. It's the same chemical formula. That is what I have in my hand. Same stuff. Okay. And that that one. I'm not worried about those, but this one I feel like some hot glue might be helpful. All right. Hello. It's okay, CH Anthony. I won't fire you for being late. I was late too. Banners coming down the curve. That's a good idea, Star Marvel. Maybe we'll paint like tattoo looking things. Not that we like tattoos, but I mean like, you know, maybe we'll paint our details coming down that. Like we did on the other buildings, do like some kind of a pattern. I feel that's what I mean, like a banner is like, it would look cool, but I like feel like it would almost be more work than this needs done to it. You know what I mean? Because I got like 7 more buildings to do, guys. So, and I can't spend forever on this. I would like to, but I gotta have it ready for February. So maybe, I don't know. We'll play around with it in a minute. Now that I'm thinking about it after you said it, I'm like, oh, that might look cool. Okay, I'm convincing myself. Hold on. This one is broken. I'm gonna use this one. I'll use that for something else. Check on our glue. Oh, the glue it's hardening, but it's still sticky. What? Yeah, Star Marvel, sometimes you gotta, for the sake of getting it done, you gotta go, okay, I could do that, but that would take me another 2 months, so maybe I won't do that. Maybe I'll come up with a better idea that will not take me 2 months. It will take me 2 hours. So some of the decisions I'm making here are for time, some of them are not. Well, most of them aren't. Some of them, though, I'm like, I could do that, but that's like 3 streams worth of work on just one thing. And this one, I need to get this done for everybody, so. And I'm confident we can do something cool without having to go crazy like that. And teach people something, because that's part of the point of this, is we're all sharing our skills. So that's why I'm, you know, that's the whole motivation behind this, was not being cranky with one another, you know, having fun together and all contributing to a group project where we all get to share a little bit of what we know and how we did it. So that's the whole point here. All right, I'm just gonna, I think we're good to go here. Well, I should put this glue on first. Well, thank you. I'm glad it looks good as it is. Okay, well, then we're done. I'll leave it alone. No, I'm just kidding. We'll do more. We're done. Finito. Come on, hot glue. I hate you. I'm doing the hot glue and the EPS glue, so the hot glue will hold this in place while the EPS glue cures, since it's on the side, so I can pick it up and move it. Like I said in the last stream, I use hot glue like a tack welder. I hold something in place while I adjust it, and then I weld it later. But in this case, I'm using it for glue, or as gluing. It's a gluing process. So, and I will probably fill in this whole side with hot glue, and then maybe paint over it later. Kind of like you would caulk something with silicone. I'm doing it with hot glue right now, just to help it bond on the outside and not just on the inside. There we go. A little bit of spider webbing. Again, I hate hot glue. This is one of the reasons. The spider webbing. There we go. All right, we'll paint over that. Oops, get off my finger. I told you, I hate hot glue. Okay, that'll work. There it is, one detail. So these are, if you weren't here last week, these are beads. This is a bead. You can buy these at the bead store. You know, they're just like hollow. But I actually made a mold of this, and I'm casting it in resin so I can have copies of little details like this. I can make my own greeblies. And this is the interior of a fancy roller shade blind gear. So, but I made a mold and cast them out of plastic or resin. So there's there's that detail. Maybe we'll do a detail up front here somewhere. Something, what if I did like a, that's too big. Too big. Nope. Let's look it up here. Nah. What about right here? What if I do it right there? What if I do one of these pieces? Nope. Yeah, you're right, Star Marvel. That's kind of, I was thinking like a lookout, like a center gathering place as well as a lookout tower for when ships are flying in. You know, you've got the lookouts going, hey, we've got this guy coming in. It's like the traffic control tower as well as like a town center. That was kind of my thinking when I designed this. That was kind of my inspiration. Nah. Do that. I don't know. What if I just do that? Say, forget you. Let me grab some of these other little pieces I have over here. Let's go to my drawer of plastics. Put these out of the way. Whole jar of bottle caps. All right. Plastic details. Some metal ones as well. This is the other side of that roller shade gear. That's where that piece fits in. I just showed you. There's another roller shade gear. There we go. It's got a nice... I have to clean it though. Forget you! I don't want to clean anything. Here's another roller shade gear. It's a nice looking piece. Nothing's floating my boat just yet. Sorry if that's loud, guys. There we go. That's an electrical connector. I like the way that looks. We'll look at that piece. And what's in here? Connects in a robot. What is in here? Yeah, all of these little pieces. Nerf gun parts. No, I'm not building in lights. Some Lego pieces, some other gears. What else? Just some PVC pieces. Dude, these are cutoffs. Maybe we'll use these. Keep it simple. Okay. Look at that mess. All right. Jiggle cam. Don't take that the wrong way. I just realized that sounded wrong. Okay. It's got some grease on it. Clean that off and sand it. Twister DB Plus. Yeah, the lights turned out great. White Wolf Dioramas put those lights into his piece and they work great. Maybe I'll put like, oh, actually I forgot. The piece that Terrafoamer and High School Creations contributed, I still haven't painted yet because I wanted to make sure I match it to the rest of the diorama. I want to do the rest of it and make sure I'm confident in it, and I'll probably do their piece last because they did some pretty incredible work and I don't want to mess it up. So their piece has lights in it. It's wired for lights. So if I send voltage to it, their piece will have lights. So we'll have some lighted doorways that High School Creations made and Terrafoamer incorporated into his piece. So we'll have that with lights in it. And then Star Marvel's piece has some lights in his like little, what do you want to call that? Like your welding station, your forge. So we'll have Star Marvel's piece with lights, Terrafoamer and High School Creations piece with lights, and then White Wolf's diorama, or White Wolf Diorama's piece that I added to the front entrance sort of main gate piece that's got lights. So there already is 4 artists that contributed lighted pieces. So I really don't have to incorporate much more. So, hey, Star, it still works. I've checked it a few times. I've pulled it off the shelf just to make sure it works, and it works just fine, man. It's doing great. And I found that there's a certain angle, if you push the battery in and leave it, it stays just fine. It doesn't get all fidgety. So I don't know if you discovered that before you were done. But Yeah, it works at a certain angle. If I do that. Nah. What about just a big old piece of pipe? Nah. Okay, maybe just this one. That looks kind of nice. Do 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 do. Maybe just that one, or maybe just that one and that one. Kind of like that. All right, so let me clean this with some acetone, or no, denatured alcohol. Where's my denatured alcohol? Where'd you go? All right. Denatured alcohol is great for cleaning grease and paint and stuff off of plastics. So this is kind of slippery with grease, so we're just gonna do that. Cleans it right off. Because I want to paint this. Okay. Pretty good. And don't use denatured alcohol. See how it says fuel? This can be lit as fuel, so do not have this around hot stuff or an open flame. It will light on fire, so just be careful. But it's pretty. It's kind of. It's. I wouldn't put a lot of it on your skin, but like have it just quickly touch your skin. It's not gonna be a problem. But you don't want to constantly have it on your skin. If you're gonna like seriously rub something down for a few minutes, put some gloves on. But this is just kind of a quick thing, you know. So it's not the end of the world. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, my finger's all slippery. Okay, now I'm just going to scrape off this, and my thumb is not in the path of the blade, okay? So it's nice and safe. Just going to do this. Scrape off some of the logo. Logo. Go away. Go away. Okay. And where'd my sandpaper go? There it is. Just to finish it off. This is a rubber sanding block with 120 grit sandpaper on it. Yeah, 120 grit. Works for most of the things that I deal with that I need to do quickly. Look at that, it's already got battle damage. And then we got some of this on the side, which I'll probably see if I can just sand off really quick. If I can't, I'll just glue something over it. If you want something like this, you can find these at the electrical aisle, and usually they're going to be in like a bin that has like 50 of them for like 10 bucks. So I have a bunch of different sizes of these things. These are just electrical connectors that you just twist over wires, if you're not familiar. I can't remember the technical name for these. Excuse me. Wire twisty things. That's what I call them. I should know I use them. I can't think of what they're called right now. They're for pigtailing wires. And they all have all kinds of different shapes and sizes and colors. These things are amazing how many different designs of these they have. So almost there. Tedious part, sanding. But it'll be worth it. It'll make it look better. Okay. That's pretty much off of there. That's off of there enough. I'm happy with that. I'm actually going to get a brush. And some little like divots in here. Get that off. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to, just going to put it on the tip of this and spray paint it really quick after I put some paper towel around this so that it doesn't spray paint my hemostats. And I'm going to get my brown that I used a couple of streams ago, which is this dark walnut. Super dark walnut. And wire nut. Thank you, White Vegeta. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. These are called wire nuts. Thank you, sir. I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but I couldn't. Nice. I think you're right, White Vegeta. It is like sort of some cool police station. Hey, look, there's my belly. Looks like I'm gonna have to do a couple of coats. Paint doesn't want to stick to that. The type of plastic, that's okay. We'll just paint that coat. See how it's splitting? Doesn't like that surface. But on the surface that I sanded, it likes it. That's okay. We'll just let it do a couple of coats and then we'll let it be part of the weathering. Alright. See that? It does not want to adhere to that, whatever type of plastic that is. Probably, I can't remember, some specific plastic. I should have sanded those edges, but that's okay. When I spread paint over it, like to weather it separate, like without the sprayed layer, it'll probably stick better. Okay. Back over here. You guys can see that. There we go. Okay. Let me clamp this in my vise. Put this in its proper resting place with some EPS glue. Just like that. Okay. And am I gonna need this? Probably not. But I'll leave it out anyways. Alright, let's see how our epoxy glue is doing. Oh, it's still a little sticky, but it's a lot less sticky. And, oops. Oops, a little stutter there, sorry. It's a lot less sticky, excuse me. But that is pretty good. This probably is okay to get working with. Yeah, it's holding in place. Let me get my my plug really quick from my phone so it does not die in the middle of the stream. Momento, please. Where's the plug? Where's my cable? Sorry guys, 1 second. Okay. Power. I have the power. Testify. Okay. There we go. A few hours later. Exactly. Okay. Super duper. And we can peel the tape off because it doesn't stick to epoxy. Ta-da! Yep. Boom. And might as well paint this underside while I'm at it. Well, maybe not. Maybe I'll do that at the end. Let it dry overnight. I'm going to round this edge over a little bit just for the sake of rounding over the edge. Give it a little fillet. There we go. Just a little detail that will look nicer when it's done. You don't have to do it. Maybe you want the sharp edge, but I just wanted that little detail. And we're gonna, little nib there, gonna cut off. There we go. It's gonna take way too long to sand, but I'm just gonna rough it up. So it'll take paint. Actually, you know what I know I could do? I could put a styrene circle over this. Let's do that. So instead of sanding this off, I'm gonna cover it up. That's what I'm gonna do. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put a cardboard circle over it because I'm gonna be rebellious. I don't know why that's rebellious, but it is. I've just decided. All right, sharpen my pencil. Okay, now that I made another mess, boom. Scissors, where did you go? Somewhere around here. Ah, around the other side of the table. Okay, let's try that again. Now I want to do this carefully. Look at that. Boom. Boom. Okay. I'm saying boom a lot. It looks good to me. Okay. So if you're going to glue down a piece of poster board or cardboard or some kind of board that's not just straight up paper, like cardstock or paper, typically you'll have a flat or a matte side and then a shinier side. See that? That's got a gloss. This doesn't. If you plan on adding paint, especially acrylic paints, you want the shiny side out because that's going to resist moisture and it's going to take the paint better. If you ideally, spray paint works best on something that's got a shiny side on poster board. If you do brush on paint that's water-based, it's going to warp this unless you glued it down perfectly evenly with a non-water-based glue, which I'm about to do. But I'm going to use spray paint on this. But if you wanted to use water-based acrylic brush on paints, or any type of water-based paint on paper or something like this, it needs to be perfectly glued or sealed with a clear spray sealer or a primer of spray paint first. Otherwise, it will curl up and warp on you. So just a note about that. Paper with water does not mix. And that's essentially what you're doing when you use a water-based paint on poster board. Just a helpful reminder so you don't ruin whatever you're working on. I've done it many times. So super glue is non-water-based glue. So I'm going to spread a lot of this on the back of this, moving outward, but not go all the way to the edge because it's going to squish out. I don't want it to squish out beyond the edge of the poster board, but I'm going to put quite a bit. And then I'm going to do something, if I can find a scrap piece of whatever. Here it is. Okay. And I'm going to use a scrap piece of cardboard or poster board and kind of spread this out evenly. Whoops, maybe a little too much already. That's okay. Whoops. Yeah, too much. That's okay. That's what I didn't want to do. Okay. There we go. And now that that's evenly spread, I'm going to plop it in place and I'm going to squish outward from the middle like that. And make sure I squish all the way to the edge. And that, yeah, it's already glued down. So now, theoretically, if I glued that down evenly enough and that non-water-based glue was even, I could go over this with a water-based something and it shouldn't really curl up. But if you didn't glue it evenly, everywhere it's not glued evenly, it will bubble up or curl back. So that's why I wouldn't recommend it unless you really like have to do it. Sometimes I have had a couple situations where I have to use that paint on that material. So at this point, you could let this dry, and if you wanted to, you could get some clear matte sealer or lacquer or polyurethane and spray like 2 thin coats on it, and then it won't warp at all. Where'd my paper towel go? Right there. Get that glue off of there. There we go. Okay. That is now super glued in place. There we go. So now, once we take this off, you will not see the ugly wording logos of the plumbing company. And look at that. Wow, that's like not really that sticky anymore. This is almost cured. I love fast curing glues. They're amazing. Like I said, we put a band around this as well. So, but now I don't mind spray painting this. So let me do that. I'm gonna use that dark walnut color that I like so much. Ta-da! Boom. All right, and there's a little spot where it doesn't want to go right there, probably because there's glue on the outside. So I'm going to let that be, and I'm going to use that as weathering. So sometimes you see an imperfection like that, and you're like, oh man, I messed up. No, it's called weathering. Just use it. If you want your piece to be weathered. If you wanted it perfect, then, you know, I wouldn't be in as big of a rush. Set this aside. Cure. All right. And then we'll glue some kind of a band on this. I don't know if I want to use poster board or styrene or something else. Let me see what we got in the box of tricks over here. Could do diamond plate sheet. This is a poster board. We'll do PVC sheet. I have a softer one that would bend really nice. Poster, no, that's not good. Actually, I already have this piece cut. This might be what I want. Look at that detail. All right. Is this tall enough? No. This is tall enough, though. Is it wide enough? Yes. Okay, I'm going to use this. This is a soft PVC sheet. It's very soft. I actually don't know where I got this one. I think I found this in like a scrap pile. This is one I didn't order. I normally order my stuff, but I found this one in a scrap pile. It's very soft. I don't know what density it is, and I don't know what to call it when I order it, so probably the only piece of this I have left. That's all right. So we can do this and wrap it around and get a general idea of how much I need to cut off, and then I will refine that later. So somewhere in this area like that. Flatten that back out. Line this up on the grid. The grid. What the heck is the grid? Okay. Oops. I'll refine the shape in a minute. You're gonna build a building for your building? Awesome. I can't wait to see what that looks like, man. Let's just do this in encourage it. You can use a heat gun to bend this stuff too. This is such a small piece though, I'm not really worried about it. Just gonna do it by hand. So I'm gonna clamp this down when I glue it in place. There we go. Okay. Oh man, that's like almost perfect. Oh, it's actually a hair under. That's okay. So white Vegeta, I could have, but this material is thicker. And so what I've learned with doing that is sometimes, not every time, if I used a band to get the measurement and I wrapped it down, the way the material is going to behave as the inside crunches together, it's going to end up, it'll be, I guarantee you it will end up being too big or too small. So I kind of just go by feel on something small like this. I also could use a tailor's rule, which I have, but that's a great suggestion if you're using the same size material or the same thickness. But you know what? I'll demonstrate what I'm talking about. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because I think it's a little tipperoonie. So if I use this piece of poster board and I wrap it around, and geez, that's like already almost the perfect measurement. So that's, let's look at that. That's already a perfect measurement by, 1/32 of an inch over. That's funny how that worked out. If I wrap it on this, watch what happens. It's short. If I go on the inside, it's too long. It's because the thickness of the material changes the way it behaves once you curve it. So I'm just doing it with the material to avoid overcutting or undercutting or having to recut 3 or 4 times, which I've done a lot. So that's why I chose to do it this way. But if you're going to use this material that's very close in thickness, like I was going to use this and then I was going to use a sheet of styrene, that's a perfect thing because they're pretty close in thickness. Because this was so thick though, I probably would have had to cut and recut it anyways. So let me grab my tailor's rule as well. It's another amazing tool. You can get these at Hobby Lobby. It's a tailor's rule. You can take this and wrap it around and get your dimension. 6 5/8. But again, this is about as thick as that paper. So if I cut it at 6 5/8, it probably would have been too small because the material density would change how long it stretched out to be once it was wrapped around a curve. Material thickness, not density, excuse me. Density's part of it. All right. What I might do is wrap another band around it. Put a little piece in there for something. All right, I'm gonna slice this off at a slight angle. Do. Oops. There we go. Voila. Okay, and I'll probably just put a detail in here because it actually is a little bit too short by about a 1/16 of an inch. Because I didn't listen to White Vegeta. I probably should have created some type of dimensional measurement. Well, not, I shouldn't say probably. I could have. Maybe it would have worked out better. We'll never know. It'll be an eternal mystery. Yep, and then I'm going to put some kind of detail in there. See, this is what I mean. If you're too worried about making this perfect band, you wouldn't have an opportunity to go, oh, I could add a detail in there. You may not have thought of it. Accidental details. Okay. Question is, how do I want to glue this in place? That is not the right genre at all. Lovely. I should have used my heat gun. That's all right. I'll just glue it back on. I'm rushing. That's okay. All right, this is gonna get glued on in 2 pieces. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do EPS glue. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna super glue it down to the bottom, and then it won't move at all. There we go. Where's my accelerator? There it is. Super glue is the answer. There we go. And then up here, glue this in place. Now I need to curve it some more. Okay, this apparently is a stiff piece. Be careful. Man, that is a really stiff piece. Well, look, more weathering detail just got added on accident. Seriously, this I just go with it if it's not ugly or like completely contradictory to what I'm trying to do. I'll just roll with it. Come on. Okay, there we go, weathering. We'll add some more detail around that and it'll just look like we meant for it to be that way. Yeah, that's working with the imperfections is extremely helpful. That's one of the things that I've learned to do over the years is not, I mean, not every time, obviously it might just completely be a disaster, but little things like that, depending on the style of piece you're doing. And in this, it's supposed to look like maybe weathered, like a weathered Durasteel band or something. Well, cracks and things and like weird buckles might occur, you know, so you can basically paint it to look like it was meant to be there. I can add in some orange in the cracks and rub it down for rust, like it's got rusted where the steel got, the bare steel got exposed or whatever, you know. There's all kinds of little things you can do. This needs some glue. There we go. Ba-do-ba-ba-da-doo. I'm going to check on my wire nut. Thank you, White Vegeta. Look at that. That actually looks pretty cool. I'm going to add another coat of paint, though. Let's see how it behaves after a second coat. Oops. White Vegeta, you are the man of the night for telling me what this was called, because I forgot. Even though I don't, it's weird. There's so many, like I know how, it's like I've talked about this before on streams, but it's like I know the things, and I know how to do the things, but I forget the terminology. Yeah, that really does not want to adhere there. Okay, we'll take care of that with brush-on acrylic paint. So whatever the formula is in the spray paint, it does not like. So, but it's adding some cool weathering looking stuff to it. So it's kind of neat. Cool. Jason Burnsworth, thank you for being here. Hold on, I'm popping my spine. Okay. Okay. All right. Do some kind of detail like that. That would be kind of cool. That might be kind of neat. I'm gonna do it like this. I'm just kind of freestyling it right now. No particular plan in mind, just making it up as I go. A lot of times that works good for imaginary worlds. I mean, you get a concept in your head, get the materials in your hands, and you just kind of go. Something like that. Yep, I like that. That's gonna be what that is. There we go. Boom. Detail. Maybe we'll do another random one on the other side really quick. Oh, the wind's picking up. We have a storm rolling in here to northern Nevada. It's supposed to be 3 days of snow in the mountains, and we'll see what we get down here. You can hear the planes and the snow and the storm over here. It's kind of crazy. All right, now that we got one detail, we need another detail, right? I have to go in and hand paint these. That's okay. Who needs to save time, right? This is the problem with details, is you can never have too many, and you can take forever, like we were talking about earlier, adding them. Ta-da! I feel like right above the seam helps that break that we just did make some sense. Maybe we'll do another one over here. I'm literally just cutting scraps and going for it. So, and I'm just rough cutting. You like the notch? Okay. Do you like the notch? Make it a different height than the other ones. Do you like that? Is that good? Maybe we'll do 2 right here. Put the glue on the thing. Like that. Like that. Sure it's visually well lined up. Cool thing about this resin grout too is super glue sticks to it. So that's nice. Kawasaki Productions, yes, for sure. Like little tiny things like that. This little dent in here, that dent is from me probably stepping on this when this piece was on the floor and getting a dent from a rock that was under it. Look at that amazing detail. It just adds detail and weathering. The 3 notches of Arne Saknussemm? Yes. I think Star Marvel's lost his mind, guys. Better not. Just kidding. Yep. That looks cool. Sometimes you just got to trust your miniature making instincts and just do stuff. You know, if you know the subject matter well too, it's like you can kind of trust your secondary brain to inform you what you need to do. Like, I know Star Wars, you know, and I know, at least I know the concepts, right? So it's like, not that I'm like some Star Wars model making expert, but it's like, I know what kind of a shape or an angle might fit the Star Wars universe, right? That's why I did the little notch at the top. I was like, this needs more than just a rectangular shape. A rectangular shape won't look right in Star Wars world, so I gave it that little notch. And there we go. Maybe something in here on the side would look cool. Maybe not that though. It's too big. Something smaller. All right. Pretty happy with that. Let's do some paper details. For this, I'm going to use a straight edge. And I'm going to line this up here and cut this off at a random straight width. Because White Vegeta inspired me to use this. He said that. I'm like, we'll do that too. Use a piece of paper here. It's actually the poster board. But thank you for the idea, Mike. I appreciate that, good sir. Do like a detail right there that follows the shape of this piece. Yeah. And then we'll stop it right there. Where'd you go, scissors? There you are. Good old super glue. That's the way. I glue it. Okay. Yes, I'm a dork. Okay. Oops. Yeah, we'll get there. I want to finish this, spray a base coat on it, and then I'll move on to adding other details. But yeah, I'll look at maybe pipes or tubes. Hang on, we'll get there. We'll do some tubes. And I have this cutoff piece. Can I put this cutoff piece somewhere? If I put it right there to cover up my crimes. Conceal my crimes. Like that. You can get super hyper detailed with this stuff, which I've done before. It's a lot of fun. But details take time, so. Hold on a sec. I see your question. Let me get back to it in one moment. No. Get into position first. Okay, there we go. There we go. Stay there. Okay. Got any hoarded guitar strings? Yes, I do. Concrete Bubble. What's up, Concrete Bubble? Concrete Bubble is one of our awesome contributing artists to the Tiny Art Experiment. Made some awesome doors and like accessory details that look like sort of different electrical things or little radio tower type stuff. And Concrete Bubble made an awesome door that I have on one of these buildings. I'm going to save that building for a later stream because it's a big building. I think it would be fun to do a little bit later. Concrete Bubble says, has the look changed at all now that the piece will be seen in its entirety rather than only being photographed? Well, I always planned on making every piece have full detail, 360 degrees. So not really. Not really, actually. My plan was always to do what I'm doing now, to be honest. So I don't think anything has changed now that I'm taking, I mean, I always planned on wanting to take it to a con. I talked about that before. I'd love to take it to a convention or whatever, which we're doing in Vegas in February. That was always the ideal goal to get to. I didn't think it would happen so quickly after we're wrapping up the project, but hey, here it is. So I wouldn't say that anything's really changed. I mean, now it's going to be seen by a lot of people, so I'm motivated as much as I was or more now to make it look as awesome as I can possibly make it look, you know. So we'll do that. All right, somebody's telling me wires and pipes. Hold on, let me get some wire that I like to use. A whole big thing of wire over here. Scrap wire. Ta-da! I have all kinds of little cutoffs that I use. Oh, you guys, I'll show you something cool really quick. If I could have a moment of your time. I had this gentleman make me some CCFL lightsabers, which I want to incorporate these. Actually, there's, I think Boyle Hobbies has been doing a ton of these with his videos. He's been doing these awesome dioramas with cool little CCFL lights in them and stuff. I have not had a chance to incorporate these yet, but I do know how to do them. So I would like to find a way to incorporate these into maybe like a cyberpunk diorama. But I had a gentleman make me some Ahsoka lightsabers for my Ahsoka hot toy that actually light up. So I might replace the hilt with my own hilts and take the guts out. But let me just show you this really quick since I have this wiring box out. Check it out. Boom. There's one. He sends them in these toothbrush cases. So I pulled this one out because I'm planning on taking the guts and putting it into a metal lightsaber hilt. I think Twin Sun Sabers makes actual scale metal hilts on Instagram. He sells them in his Etsy store and they sell out. Oops, get rid of those bots for me, Star Marvel, if you're still here. We got a bot here. See if I can get rid of it. Report. Okay, it's gone. So I pulled the guts out so I could put this into one of the Twin Sun Sabers metal sabers and give Ahsoka metal light up sabers that fully glow. So I'm going to probably do that. And I'll do a video on that when I do it. It's not happening anytime soon, but that's a plan I have. So get those bots out of here. We'll fight them away with my miniature lightsaber. The only thing is the tip of this gets really hot. I have to figure out how to mitigate that. But anyways, there's that. There's that. Okay. Wire. Back to wire. Here we go. This is what I wanted. See all this stuff? Tubing and wire. I have all these flat, straight cutoffs of baling wire. I'm gonna maybe glue some of these on there. Let's see. Another piece in here somewhere. A little aluminum tubing cutoff. Let's see. Put those over there. These are cutoffs from when I did my miniature bat cave lights on the bat car. I cut pieces of this off and put an LED in, and I made them the spotlights that shine on the Batmobile in the bat cave I made. Just like this. I had that in the ground with a light in it, shining up at the Batmobile. I don't think I went over that specific thing when I did that video because I just ran out of time. But that's how I did that. Tubes. Have you guys seen the YouTube videos of Professor X firing the X-Men? There's a really funny one with Wolverine where he goes to fire Wolverine and he tells Wolverine, he's like, Wolverine, you're useless. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, you're useless. our main villain is Magneto, and he controls metal. And literally your skeleton is made of metal. And then he goes, what about these? And he pulls his claws out. And he's like, he goes, Wolverine, seriously? Those are made of metal. Those will not help us. He's like, but they're knives. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, I got a motorcycle. He's like, what is a motorcycle made of? And Wolverine goes, tubes and glass. And then he fires Wolverine. That's a funny video. The other ones are kind of inappropriate, but the Wolverine one's pretty funny. So be warned. Digging in my obtainium. Look at this. This little lighting shroud I saved. Thought that was pretty cool. Here we go. Here's a rivet. Probably enough to keep us going. All right, put this aside. Here's all the junk we pulled out. Yes, that's an excellent suggestion. Yeah, I don't really make light stands myself, but I'm sure you know what you're talking about with that. So baling wire for flight stands. It's very stiff, and so I'm sure that's why it works great. Thank you for the suggestion. White Vegeta says that baling wire works great for flight stands. Little suggestion there from Mr. Vegeta. Star Marvel, thanks for being here. Have a good night. All right. This is all glued in place. All right. Tubes and glass. All right. What if we did... Would that look cool? Kind of, but that's a lot of detail. Trying to minimize how much hand painting detail I have to do here. I'm already doing a lot. What if I put it right there? Or no, right there? Yeah, right there. Interesting. Oh, look at that. The magnet's holding this. It's steel. Oops, look at that. Good old magnet. Look at that. I took this out of a lightning cable. I thought that'd make a cool detail on something someday. I don't know if this is the right piece for it, but yeah, maybe. That might be kind of cool stuck in there. Maybe not today. Maybe some other piece. Throw that back into the void, never to be found again. All right. These need to be sanded off. Clean that out of there. Do. Clean these burrs off of here. Alrighty. Troy uses baling wire and 50-pound fishing wire for fishing line for ships. Awesome. Yeah, baling wire is very versatile, and you can get it in all different gauges. You can get it crazy thick, or you can get it super thin. And it's once you have the right experience and tools and little pliers and things, you can do a lot with it. Just gonna plop this right here. Okay, the magnet will tell me differently. Get that off of there. There we go. I wonder, will this fit around this? Look at that. Nah, it's gonna stick out too far. What about that? Nope. If I want to do something like this. Oh, I know. I know. That'll be a nice detail. Put it right there. Getting too detailed here, guys. I was trying to avoid this earlier. That's all right. We'll put all the detail on this, and maybe our photographers will like it and take lots of pictures with it. And you'll be like, I was there for that live stream. And I'll be like, yeah, I put too much work into that, but that's okay. Actually, I'll be happy I did it. What am I saying? You can never have too many details. Sorry, I'm concentrating and I'm not talking as much. Sorry. There we go. Little detail. We'll put another one over here without a thing sticking out of it. Probably should be using my tweezers and not gluing my fingers together, but hey, it's all good. Yeah, I'll paint them. It's okay. I won't do a lot of these, but I can probably do these pretty quick if I use the spray paint method. Or that I showed you last week, like, and paint it and let it dry. It'll dry quicker that way. Okay. All right, wire details. That looks like a good place for a wire detail. One wire detail coming up. Boom. Whoops, if I don't peel it off with my thumb. Okay. And what about right there? Or right here? Right there. Right there. It's a good spot for that. And what else? Another one right there. Put this one right there. Ta-da. Look at all that detail. Fabulous. Make sure that's gonna stay. Bueno. Put this piece of wire over here. Oops. There we go. And let's see, do I want to put this? I think I'm going to leave that like that. I feel like this might be too much, or maybe not. I'm going to put it right there. It found a home. Let me just squish the glue in. Ooh. Whoops. Put some super glue around it. Just to, there we go. Bueno. Okay. I think this has enough detail. We'll use this on something else. I am satisfied with that. Just stretching my neck. Hold on. Okay, there we go. It's amazing how leaning over this phone will mess with your back. Troy, I have 2 snow speeders hanging with the fishing line, and when the heater or AC blows, they look like they're flying. That's awesome. That's cool. Happy accidents. Love it. That's awesome. Okay. So, what I will probably do is just do a quick rough coat on the bottom, and then I'll go in with a brush and do the rest. It's satin doesn't really like to stick to smooth plastic very well. That's okay. Good enough start. See how our wire nut is doing. Wire nut is looking pretty nutty. All right, we'll glue that down. Set this aside to dry over near the fan. Bring this guy back. And this needs a home. I'm going to fill this up with EPS glue. I'm going to super glue the edges down. Getting crazy with the glue. Getting crazy with the crazy glue. And we're going to just do, I'll butt it right up to it like that. If I can hold it. Push it in just a little bit. Okay. And then when I come back and weather these, I'll even out the sort of weathering on them. And I'll get rid of that blue with another brushed on color. Okay. We have detail. All right, that paint dried pretty good. Just curious if I spray this again really quick, if it's gonna take the paint. Yes, it will. Okay. It just needed a base coat. There we go. Good enough for me. All right. I'm gonna glue this into the top. Move the camera up here. And all right. Just gonna spread this glue all around under here. Not too much because I don't want it to squeeze out of the edges, but that should be good. I'm actually going to spread it with my finger too. That should be good. Okay. Now I'm going to very carefully plop it in place. You know what? This is going to need some hot glue. It's going to need some hot glue. I can tell. Just to help it stay in place. And I'll do this. There we go. Of course, I got a spider web over my fresh paint. Okay. Two little plops of glue came down to the bottom. Okay, there is our little top piece. Yep, there we go. When that cures, I will probably spray some type of clear on that so that when this goes onto it, see how strong the magnet is? Pretty strong. It doesn't smear it. Okay. Move back to this. Touch up this. Okey-dokey. Brush I don't mind ruining. I guess you're the lucky winner. Actually, this brush seems like it was already ruined. Okay. No problem. Slow down. Nope, that brush is too ruined. That ain't gonna work. Where's my trash? There it is. Okay, try this. There we go. I'm not worried about perfect consistency in paint on this because I'm going to add other layers of paint and it'll just look like weathering. If I was doing the hull of a fancy senator's ship, I would not do it this way. This is just the way I'm doing this. Alright. Get up into these areas really quick. Pretty self-explanatory what I'm doing. Just painting all the details. Not trying to be flawless. I'm just trying not to bleed over onto the resin, tile resin, grout, whatever it's called, on the actual column. So I don't mind if I undercut the actual metal part, as long as I don't get it onto the column, because I'm going to be adding weathering later that can go on all of it, and it will kind of blend the imperfect edges together a little. One thing I am doing is for these edges like this, I'm loading the brush up and then I'm pushing. I'm getting it not all the way to the edge, I'm getting close to the edge, and then I'm pushing the bristles out and then dragging the brush. It's kind of hard to do at this angle, sorry, because there's this canopy over it. Getting a little bit of bleed over, but that's okay. Okay. If you've ever done house painting, I'm just doing the same thing that you might do when you're trying to paint up next to the edge of a piece of trim or paint the trim. I'm putting the brush down close to the edge. I'm kind of bending the brush over and letting the bristles kind of push over, just kind of like plopping it down and bending it like that. And the bristles, sorry, get out of the light. And the bristles will push that way just a little, and then you can drag your line and get a nice straight line. It's called cutting in. I think. I keep doubting myself because I keep forgetting things because I haven't done them for a long time, but White Vegeta saved me on the wire nut. There we go. Getting there. See, imagine if I did this much detail to every little wall on the piece, it would look incredible, but it would take a lot of time. And so I'm just going to do it in select areas because part of this piece is just to be a demonstration. You know, it's not meant to, oops, I got some glue on that. It's not meant to be my piece, you know, or it's just meant to be a demonstration of art and what people can do. And so, oops, I got glue on the bristles. That's no good. Come over here. Hope you guys can see what I'm doing. Enough to make it worth it for you. So, yeah, okay. I need a new brush in a second. I got some glue on that on accident. See, I didn't plan on doing any of this detail until I added the magnetic piece, and then I was like, what if we add a band, and then we add this, and then we add this. None of that was planned, so sometimes just letting it tell you, as I've said this before, what it wants to be as you do it is the, oops, there's the best way to go. I got a little bleed over there. That's okay. It's not going to matter from a foot, a couple feet away. You won't even tell. Okay, yeah, this brush got some glue on it that dried. We'll go to my soft tip brush. There's another reason I like using cheap paintbrushes. I can do things like this that are messy and not feel like I'm ruining expensive materials. I mean, you can have expensive brushes for expensive things, right? But when we're working with foam and cheap materials and cheap paints and spray paint, cheap brushes are great. But, you know, if you're doing like a fine, hyper-detailed model kit, you need nice lines, and you're using expensive testers paints or whatever you're using, you know, airbrush paints, then yeah, get a nicer brush, clean it, take care of it. But for so much of what I do as far as the bulk of the work, cheap paints and cheap brushes work the best. And then I can just use them, rinse them in water, and throw them away when they get too nasty. And I just go down to Hobby Lobby or Walmart or wherever and just buy another $5 pack of 20 cheap brushes and do it all over again. I don't actually have to do it very much either, too. I'm just leaving these in water all the time keeps them pretty fluid. And that's kind of what I do. Just leave them in water and it works out just fine. Come on. I probably only have to buy 3 packs of cheap paintbrushes every year. I do buy a lot of chip brushes from Harbor Freight or Home Depot. I use those for certain types of dry brushing and certain types of weathering, or if I have to spread a chemical using a brush, I'll use a chip brush. But those are literally like 59 cents, so they're pretty cheap too. I go through more of those than I do anything else. I used to use a lot of sponge brushes, but I don't seem to do projects where I feel like they're needed that much anymore. I still use them, but a lot less than when I first started. They just don't seem as necessary as they thought they did, but they're still useful, so don't get me wrong. I just keep finding that I do the stuff I used to do with them without them, and it comes out the same. There we go. Do. Up in there, paint in there. It's this spot right here. What do you guys think? Does that look all right? Then we add some weathering and some scrapes and scratches and some rust. Probably look all right. What do you think? Sound off in the comments below. Not too shabby for rushed details. Okay. Now I'm at it. I'm gonna touch this up. Looks good, Eddie Rodriguez. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. Exactly. Fancy brush versus cheap brush. I appreciate you using that emoji as clever as you just did there, sir. All right. Okay. Just going to touch this up. See if we can zoom in on it. I keep forgetting to use my zoom. There we go. There we go. I'm even going to spread some of this onto this because I want to. Aha. Didn't see me coming. There we go. That is looking okay. There we go. That's better. Whoops, sorry. And I forgot I zoomed in, sorry. All right, I'm gonna move back to these details, and maybe I'll add some darkness down here, just for the fun of it. Just some, there we go, some weathering. There we go, make it look grungy. Kind of paying attention to the little areas where grease would gather here too. So the areas that are lower than the highest areas, that's where I'm kind of on this piece. That's where I'm gonna put most of the buildup of this darker paint, and then I'm gonna wipe it off a little bit, just like that. There we go. Put a little bit more on this, now that I'm looking at it. There we go. Not bad. Not too bad. Looking all right. Okay. All right, let's see about adding some weathering to this before we, oh, you know what? I should touch up the top as well. Boop. And again, I don't really care if it's like bubbly or weird, because that's just gonna look like weathering. Just gonna blend it out. Give me some of that. Call it a day. There we go. Good enough. All right. It looks like a thing. Things look like things. All right. Oh, I was gonna do wires, wasn't I? Let's do that. All right. Do some wires hanging up under here before I do anything else. What gauge to use? Thin, thick, tiny, I don't know. Let's just go with some of this. Wire cutters. Just gonna cut some random lengths. Come on. Doesn't want to cooperate today. There we go. Okay. All right, we'll just start with 3. I'm not going to go too crazy here, but this is where you can do like drooping wires and stuff. Do kind of cool stuff. Literally just gonna bend these up into a configuration, and I can mess with these more at the end when the glue dries, making like a shape like that. I can stick these up under it. But a trillion ways to do this as well. This is just kind of the quickest, simplest way. You could do this with string. You could do this with soft stereo wire. I'm using this stiff wire because I can shape it exactly how I want. But sometimes you want it to hang a little bit more naturally. So I'm also just going to get a nail. Or actually, I'm going to use my dental pick. And I'm going to poke 3 holes up under here where I want these to go. If I can even do it. Oh, there's one. There's 2. And we'll do the 3rd one here. Actually, it's probably better to do this upside down now that I think about it. Yeah, that's going to be easier. We'll do it upside down. Since I'm using stiff wire, I don't need it to hang. I don't know why I didn't think of that ever before, but I just did. Okay, I'm actually going to use hot glue for this because it's a little bit easier. And these really don't need anything special unless you're doing large sections of wire. Oops, maybe I shouldn't have done the hot glue. It's melting the foam a little too much. Should have used my low temp hot glue. Okay, that's all right. Okay, it melted a little bit of a hole in there that's probably too big. Should have used the low temp, my bad. All right, we're gonna use the EPS glue then because I totally didn't think about how hot. This is the high temp gun, and it's gonna melt the styrofoam. I'm gonna fill the void with EPS glue. No problem. Okay. Bend another one here. You can, the cool thing about wire, especially thin wires, you can manipulate this afterwards. Get it how you really want it. All right. You want the curve to be a little bit more, I believe isochronous is the term, to have it have more droop to it. Yeah, let's do a wide droop. Maybe one that goes a little bit differently. Cut that off. So you could add like little outlets here too. On this one, I might add them afterwards or not. I don't know how I feel. I could also add them during. I don't know. I'm just kind of feeling it out right now. I'm in feel it out mode. Maybe I will get some little pieces of something here. And that. Right there. Whoops. All right, let's just, out of curiosity, let's see what those look like. Boom. Hanging wires. So these are the quick version. Obviously, if you look directly under there, you're like, where are those going? But you could, if you wanted to create more of a story point to these, you could add tube pieces. Maybe we'll do some of that on the other side here. I'll do some longer ones. Maybe I'll do a really long one over here. Trace, thank you. I appreciate that. Beep boop derp, I love you. Thank you. You like that TIE fighter, Troy? I like it too. That's the Black Series one. All right. Let's get a bigger piece of wire off of this. Heavier duty piece. All right. That's enough whistling Oilers. Fiddling with wire. Fiddly-dee. Just kidding. Gotta make this look like it's drooping. How droop is your droop? Don't answer that. Okay. Maybe we'll have it go like this. There we go. Ideas are happening. One side to the other. There we go. Let me get something. What if I did this? It's too big. That'd be fine for like a bigger cable. It's too big for that. It's too big. Momento, guys. I'll be right back. Okay. Heat shrink tubing. So, do this. Put a hole here. I'm actually going to make that kind of big. And a hole here. Only kind of big. Use a piece of heat shrink. If you're not familiar with heat shrink, You can put a couple of wires in here or slide this over some wires, hit it with the heat gun, and it'll shrink. But I've actually found this works great for adding little weird little details on top of softer things. This doesn't really take paint well. I mean, it can, but it might probably will flake off over time. So, but if you just need like a black rubber hose, this stuff works great. Cut a couple of pieces off. Make sure this is big enough hole. Put some glue. So I'm using the white open cell styrofoam, and that's the reason it melted when I put the hot glue in, it melted. If I was using XPS foam for this, it would old pin top. I'm not sure what that is. I'm sorry. I would use the low temp hot glue wouldn't open a big void inside that, but I'm using the white styrofoam, so it's much weaker, so it just kind of melts open. So. But this glue will hold stronger anyway, so I'm going to pre-put that in there. I'm going to pre-put this one in here. And then we're going to stab it with the wire. Like this. There you go. Now the wire's got something that's coming out of. Boom. If you wanted, you could hit that with a heat gun and it would shrink onto the wire. I'm not going to do that, but you could. Eddie Rodriguez, this is a group project, so I have all of the videos. This is video number 9 of the Tiny Art Experiment on a playlist if you want to watch. If you watch the first video, it explains the whole thing. And the first video is only like 15 minutes. But explains what this is. This is a global project where a bunch of artists from all over the world made parts and pieces, and this is me bringing them together into one cohesive diorama. So, yeah, it's just one big giant Star Wars diorama. There's that. Now I gotta kind of fudge this, make sure it sits how I want. It's looking all right. So maybe I'll do another one going this way, but smaller. Yes, I'm going to do that. Drop you guys back down. Okay. Yeah. Bueno. Do the same thing here. So yeah, this was a global Star Wars art project. I have an Instagram page called Tiny Art Experiment, and I basically just said, hey, anybody who wants to make something for a diorama that we all contributed to, and just do it as a volunteer, because I'm volunteering my time for this. Make it. Let me know what you want to make. And I came up with a list of items that we might need, like vehicles and characters and stuff. I have a whole ton of stuff I haven't shown on these 3 last live streams that these wonderful artists have made. And so for the next few streams, I'd actually like to pull some of that out and start incorporating it and showing it off too. Because some people made some insane stuff. Like we have a Tusken Raider hut that looks like it was pulled right off a miniature set at Lucasfilm. And we have a forge that Star Marvel made, like an alien space forge. And we have got a whole bunch of crazy characters and vehicles that people made. Speeders, just insane stuff. We have 2 pod racers. By the way, I am going to show you guys how to make a pod racer canyon. Very basic one, but we'll make it look as real as we can to the movie. But we're not going to go too crazy, but we're going to make it so that the photographers can use it to make it look like there's a pod race happening. So we'll do that. Probably not next stream, but maybe 2 or 3 streams from now. Sometime middle December we'll do it. I'm going to show you guys how to use this white styrofoam and make perfectly acceptable pod racing rock canyon walls. So we have two insanely cool pod racers that people made. After I saw them, I was like, man, I want to make a pod racer. I don't have time, but maybe in the future I'll make a pod racer. It made me really want to make one. It's very cool. Okay. Do that. Okay. Okay, there's that. All right, what does that look like? Hey, that looks cool. The big swooping wires. I like that. Some smaller wires. I think I'm gonna let that cure some more before I fiddle with it too much. There we go. Yeah, I think I need something else right here. Doesn't look complete. Looks too empty without it, so maybe we'll do a big old cable. See, this is stranded core black vinyl coated wire, just regular, basically black wire. See if I can do something with this. This stuff doesn't really like to cooperate for droops. It's good for cables, but not so much for drooping cables. So see if I can get this to cooperate. If I do two smaller ones, that would look cool. Yeah, that would look kind of cool. There we go. Bueno. Maybe I'll do one big thin one right below it or something. There we go. And do another big one of these. Here's the end. Annealed wire is your friend. 'Tis but a scratch. I don't know why I said that, but I said it. All right. That might be too big. There we go. Getting there. Put it over here. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll just stick that one in there. Put this one over here with a piece of this. Nope, scissors are better. Hole. There we go. See what that looks like. Oops. careful. That looks pretty cool. All right. Noticing little flaws in my swoop. There we go. Nifty doodle. I like it. Yeah. Okay. Details. And we're going to do this to a lot of the buildings. We're going to add wire. So we'll do like wider ones too. They're like strapped together. A bunch of different ones. Now, I want to add like a cable here coming down. Whoops. Down there. Maybe. Cable like that. All right, Wife Vegeta, I'm not going to be on too much longer, maybe just another 15 minutes or so. So you're not going to miss too much other than just me talking about cables. You know what? I'll probably do this. Have to repair that area. There we go. I like it. Oops. There we go. This cracked a little bit too much, so I'll probably have to add in some repairs pieces there, but that's okay. We did that before, and you saw how easy that was, so not a big deal. There we go. Yeah, I'll fill in around here and here with some of the stuff. Actually, you know what? I'll just do that right now before I forget. Let me get my tile grout. We'll do a little bit of repair to this before I forget. This is linked below if you guys want this. The color that's linked below is not bright white, it's almond. That's the only color I could find on Amazon. But it doesn't really matter because you're going to paint it anyways. So just know that the color linked below is like an off, like a light brown color, like an almond color, but it still looks fine. It actually looks closer to the finished paint job, to be honest. Okay. Grab a glove. Stuff's pretty nasty, so you definitely want to use a glove. And I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to get a brush. We'll push it around with a brush. Brush. Maybe I'll put a little on my brush. we go. All right. I think the other side was fine. Actually, you know what? I might just butt some resin up to this to make it look incorporated, and then I'll touch it up with some paint later, just for the fun of it. I'm just kind of smearing it and pushing it. Nothing fancy here. Just pushing it into place. Little crack over there I didn't notice. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Seeing some little spots that could use some filling. Okay, that's good. Bueno. All right. I like that. All right, I'm just gonna throw that back in my dirty paint water, put the lid back on the resin. Where did my hammer go? Here. The reason I'm tapping the center, by the way, is to get the air out, because I notice if I trap air in here, the air wants to push it and might pop the lid open. So I'll tap the edge down and I'll tap the center down, just to squeeze the air out as I do that, so it doesn't create a air bubble inside, which can actually make this dry out and make the lid pop open. I've discovered that. It doesn't happen with every material, but some materials do it, so I just have a habit of doing that on all of these materials in buckets now. Okay, so I'm going to spray a little bit of clear gloss on that, or not clear gloss, but clear, matte clear, whatever. Where is it? Where'd you go, matte clear? Somewhere. I lost it. All right. Going to use a little bit of this. It doesn't matter what kind you use. If as far as acrylic, lacquer, polyurethane, they'll all work fine on these materials. So I'm just going to spray some on top of this to encourage it to cure faster and get it to seal, so I can put the top on without it sticking. That's it. Thick Bantha Boy, you're welcome. Thanks for being here, man. So this will cure fairly quickly overnight, and then I can put the top on. I can't really do it now yet, but there it is. Back it up and see what this thing looks like, kind of half assembled. Back it up some more. Okay. Wires. Here is your top. And that's kind of what it's going to look like. And then it's going to have the orange sash around it. And then we'll add some, we'll touch this up and add some washes. I'll probably do that off screen. The painting touch up here, it's the same process I showed 2 streams ago. So I don't necessarily need to repeat that for you guys. And I'm gonna do the same weathering I did on these, on the door, or did on the doors on these, with like a brown, like another color brown and an orange, and then come in with some silver and just do some scrapes. Probably what I'm gonna do, just to keep consistency through the whole piece. But let's do a little bit on the fabric, and then we'll end the stream after that. So I'm going to set this over here in the path of my fan to encourage all of that to dry. I have a fan over here blowing fabric. Okay. Let me get some stuff from my leather working box. This is my leather work, some of my leather working and leather dyeing stuff. It's a leather sewing awl. This is what I want. Shoe polish. See how extreme this is. I haven't actually tried this in a while on a fat quarter before, this type of fabric. So here's a big old can of contact cement for gluing leather together. The first video I ever posted on YouTube is using this. And it's definitely a test video, so you can see me trying to kind of find my footing. If you go back and watch it, I was showing how to line the outside, the leather bracelet with leather on the inside, so that you have leather, nice soft leather touching your skin. So that saddle soap is dried out. I will be getting back to doing cool leather working stuff like steampunk armor. See, here's an example of me doing some of that. This is some of the stuff that I'm going to do later on this, later on this channel. Make cool arm bracelets and stuff like that. And sell them, because these always sell out on my Etsy store. People love these on my store. And let me grab a test piece of fabric here, just in case I don't like the way this looks. I don't know where my orange is, but I have the blue right here. So let me cut a piece of this blue off. Same material, so it should behave the same. I'm just going to cut a little corner off. Oof, my scissors are dull. There we go. Good enough. Okay, so I want something to not put leather dye on my mat. Okay, so these, you can literally just buy these off the shelf at Hobby Lobby. These are for touching up shoes. That's why they come in this weird shape. It's supposed to be ergonomic, but who cares? Black noir and brown brun. I'm just going to try the brown first. See what it looks like. Move you guys over here. All right. Just wanted to see how much it sunk in. If I put it in a tray and just brushed it on, how that would look. Looks all right. Just kind of wiping it like that. Looks okay. Smells nice. Got like lemon oil in it. Diorama will smell great. If a diorama decides to go on a date and date other dioramas, the other dioramas will appreciate how it smells. This is the black. That's probably too black. That almost looks like a little too clean. Well, let's just try a little bit of the brown. If it looks terrible, I can always cut a new piece of fabric. Not bad. I just wanted to see how fast it was going to come out on me. I don't remember how those worked, so it's not bleeding out as much as I thought it would. So just get some paper towels. That should be fine. All right. Try this again. There we go. It's got an interesting look to it. Little streaks. Little poop streaks. something. We could go back and forth a few times. Maybe I will re-stain this with some stain in a cup. Looking okay. Man, it smells good. Makes me want to go like get some perfume or cologne or something. Lemon grass or lemon oil, I don't know. Let me see. What is the smell? It doesn't say. Lemon something. Pretty light. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it just adds a little bit of another dimension to it. When I tried the black was pretty strong on the blue, so I'll just see what it does, I guess. Can always get actual greasy shoe polish out too and try it with that. That looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks good mixed with the brown. Looks a little, it doesn't look, it's not coming through too great on camera, but it looks okay to the naked eye. Actually, you know what might look good on this is actually some white or some light tan, because it'll make it look sun bleached. Actually, maybe running this with something that'll bleach it a little bit might make it actually look like it's been out in the hot desert sun. Oops. Okay, that's what I was trying to avoid. That's all right. What is that? Aha. That's okay. Subtlety is lost right there, but that's okay. You can always run this through a bath of denatured alcohol to change it. Let's see. I'm trying to think what would bleach this or lighten it without using the actual bleach, because that would make it too jacked up. I don't do a lot of fabric weathering, so any suggestions would be helpful out there in TV land. Kind of trying to make this look like smog buildup, you know? Okay. That looks pretty neat. This kind of got a little globby in here, but that's okay. Just out of curiosity, what does it look like when I burn it? That looks pretty good. Hey, Trace, thanks for being here, bud. We'll see you later. I hope you had a good time. Ooh. Oh, that looks cool. Burn it and then kind of peel it back. Hey, there we go. That's kind of the weathering I was looking for. Hey, that looks nice. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Burnt edge. This stuff lights up pretty quick, so if you do this, do it in a safe area. I have concrete below me and a fan over there. Got water over there. I'll be okay. I can touch fire. Careful. Don't light anything on fire. Adult supervision required for this part. There we go. Okay, yeah, that looks good. This is the edge that I was kind of trying to figure out, but that weathering plus the edge looks really good. And pulling that out, I don't know if you can see that. That looks really cool. I've just discovered this just now. I hadn't done this yet. I did burn a little bit of the edges on the first live stream diorama we did, but I didn't do it this way. So that looks cool. Pulling the burnt edge out while it's still hot. And it's not hurting because I'm doing it quickly, so nothing has a chance to heat up. Because I don't want that black edge. I just want a weathered edge. There we go. That looks nice. All right, guys, if you're going to try this, what I'm just doing now, be extremely careful, please. Do it have water near you or a fire extinguisher. Be out somewhere where if you drop this because it hurts you, it's not going to light anything on fire. Like maybe do it outside, something like that, okay? Please, don't be stupid. I did use a wire brush on this already. That's how we got that flayed edge. I just don't like it just looking like a fresh color like that. And I might come back with paint as well, but that looks much better. So that is how I got a wire brush and pulled the edge already. So that's how I got what's on there. I just wanted it to have a different color at the edge. And that burning it that gave it some character for me. Okay. I am going to get just do some dirty paint water on this, I think. Make some dirty brown paint water. Oh, you know what? I have this already mixed. This is a burnt umber mix from the airbrush thing I was doing earlier. This, you know what? Maybe mix some tile grout into it. Might have a winner. That is too thick though. Need some more water. I'll try dabbing this with a paper towel and then I'll grab my sponge if it doesn't do what I want. Okay. Just do this with a paper towel. Yeah, that's working all right. Oops. Most of that darker color you see over here is just water. It just needs to dry. It's not the paint. Just experiment. It's this, other fabrics behave differently. These fat quarters, because they're a fairly cheap fabric, behaves a lot differently than like denser fabric. So that's why I think I'm having more trouble than I used to. Trying to figure out how I want to weather this fabric. All the little tricks I use on denser fabric are behaving a lot differently on this one. So, all right, I think I figured out what I want to do to lighten it up. I just realized what I should have done. Drywall putty. And then I can wash off what I don't like. There we go. Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. And since drywall putty is water soluble, I can just wash off what I don't like. There we go. That's kind of the variation I was looking for. Smearing that in there. There we go. Starting to look bleached now. Could even add color to this and do it with a color. It's fun working with this on a curve. It's so much harder. If it was just a flat piece, it would be easier, but since it's on a curve and I have to do the weathering outward to look like everything has a motion to it, it's a little bit more tedious than it would be if I was just doing like a flat piece that was hanging one direction. So the other pieces should be easier. This one's just going to take a little bit more effort. Yep, that's looking much closer to what I had in mind. The drywall putty will actually take color too, so if I stained it with the color or a paint wash, it would actually probably absorb it. So now I need to be more careful. Okay, there we go. That's starting to look like it belongs in a post-apocalyptic Star Wars-y desert planet type world. Put the lid back on this. See what this looks like on a canopy. Thanks guys for sticking here. I know there's 17 of you left. I think we were pushing 40 at one time. Okay, yeah, this is much more what I had in mind. There we go. Much more dynamic looking. There we go. And when I weather the bottom, it should look all right. Bjorn, you're a trooper, man. There we go. This is actually more like what I had in mind. So maybe with a little bit more brown washes or something, it might be exactly what I want. Or maybe I'll just leave it. Maybe I'll rinse some of this out. I don't know. But that looks closer to what I was envisioning. Maybe I'll pull the airbrush out and add some shading here and just do some dark spots in the back or something like that. Let me clamp this in place again. Where's my clamp? There it is. There we go. Pull this around. All right, I'm not going to glue that down yet because I want to get under here and do all this weathering without this in the way. But there it is, the top of the tower. Hey, all right, thanks for hanging in there, guys. Here it is. It's my new hat. Hello. All right, thank you. That caffeine served me well and kept me going here for, what did we do? We do 3 hours? We did. We broke 3 hours. Wow. All right. Cool. All right. Well, I'll weather this the same way I did on the other one. That looks good with light behind it too. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So when I take this out into the sun and the sun comes through it and creates shadows and stuff down here and lighting conditions, it'll look great for our photographers. That's what I'm trying to do, is kind of create a miniature set, really. So, super. I'm glad we did it together. Thank you for being here for this. Thank you for your suggestions, everybody. And thank you for putting up with me. So, yeah, I'm actually thinking next week I might do the stream on Saturday afternoon, just because I have a family thing on Sunday that might, I don't know if I'll be able to make a legitimate excuse to get out of by 5 on Sunday. So I may do the stream on Saturday, and it'll be probably the afternoon, like maybe starting around 2 or 3. I have not decided yet. Maybe around 3. And then I'm actually going to be on another channel next Saturday night. So if I do the stream Saturday, I'll let you guys know in a community post, or I'll put the stream up. So maybe it will be Friday. If it's not Friday, it'll be Saturday. I'll put it up with at least 24 hours notice so you can see it in your feed. Please hit the notification bell and the subscribe button if you're here and you haven't yet. I would appreciate it. We may have broken a record today with 41 likes. I can't remember what the last record was. It might have been 40, right around 40. But thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot. But yeah, I'll either do the stream on Friday or Saturday this coming week. I'm going to try to shoot for Saturday, but I'll let you know. You'll see. And I'll probably keep that one brief to about 2 hours, because Saturday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, I'm supposed to be on 6 Scale Mafia's channel talking dioramas. 6 Scale Mafia, obviously he's a 6 scale collector, like all these hot toys I have back here. And he's going to have me on and another diorama artist by the name of Metamorphic Customs, who is an incredible artist. You guys would love him too. Desi's a really nice guy, and I believe he works in the toy industry. I don't know what he does, though. So me and Desi and Anthony should be over on 6 Scale Mafia stream live Saturday night. I'll drop the link in the community tab too. So go check out Anthony if you like hot toys or 6 scale figures. That's what he talks about. But we're going to talk about the dioramas and what I do and what Desi does, and hopefully have fun talking about it. Anthony's a fun guy. His streams are pretty entertaining. So you guys have a great night. Be safe. Take care of each other. Don't be stupid. The world's a crazy place. Try not to find ways of dividing yourself with other people. Try to find ways of finding common ground and being kind to one another, because that's the only way we get along. That's the only way we can have peace, so we can make dioramas, right? And have little miniature shades over our heads. There's more happiness in giving than receiving. Have a good night, guys.